Microsoft Ignite this year is talking all about AI. You heard about AI in Keynote, you heard about AI in all different places, and last year in Ignite we had also AI. AI is the big focus of Microsoft and many other technology-oriented companies. It's taking over all the world, and lots of AI-oriented applications are coming. Today we are talking with Hyong, part of AI team in Microsoft, has lots of experience with many clients in AI field, and we'll talk about how to use AI in real world. Let's check it out. We are interviewing Hyong Tok from Microsoft Azure Data Platform AI team. He has done lots of great, interesting features with Microsoft AI, which we will talk about that today for sure. Hi, Hyong, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Hyong. So, in fact, when Lisa contacted me, I'm very happy because I used to be an MVP as well. Before I joined Microsoft. So this is my 10th year with Microsoft. I was with the Azure AI platform team for a while. And so right now I'm with the Office of the CTO for AI, responsible for the technical team.
That's great. And you've been an MVP in Singapore before that? Was it Singapore or another?
That's right, yeah.
Singapore, nice.
That's right,
okay. Yeah. That's great. It's awesome to have you here. So in Ignite, like the previous year, we had a lot of interesting features of AI. Yes, last year AI was a big thing. This year AI is still a big thing. So what is your feeling about AI, where we are heading to? It's all getting like lots of things automated, lots of things like depend on machine. It's like the Matrix movie that we've seen, that machines are kind of taking over. And so what do you see in the future of AI, at least let's say in the near 5 years future?
I think if you see the field of AI, it is happening at such an accelerated pace. Right? Whether it is innovation that's happening in the commercial companies, but also innovation that's happening in the academic community. It's just amazing. Right? So, for example, if you take, say, even a very simple type of computer vision, for many people working in the computer area, you'll be very familiar with a data set called ImageNet. And typically, in a lot of this AI conversation, deep learning is a big top of mind. And in deep learning, a computer vision model can classify this object using a large data set like ImageNet. Now, why am I showing you all this? Is if you look at before 2017, the time taken and the amount of hardware needed just to train a data set like ImageNet was days. 2017 was a pivotal year because of the following reasons. If you look at April in 2017, Facebook demonstrated using their big basin architecture that now you could train ImageNet, not days, but in an hour. And of course, that piece of work was really a result of three things. Of course, innovation in hardware. It was also innovation, how the algorithms and how you go about doing training. Right? And three was really because people believe that you can't just take days to train a deep learning model. You need to significantly cut the time down. Right? And as a result of that, April, it was in an hour. By the time we hit about September last year, it reduces from an hour to 30 minutes, which is fascinating.
Right.
Now, and by November last year, 30 minutes reduced to about 12 minutes by a Microsoft partner in Japan called Preferred Network, using a deep learning framework called Chainer NN. And so if you just look at 2017 alone and the amount of innovation for a very simple task like computer vision, it has accelerated at an amazing pace. Now, and this is not just happening in the computer vision area, across text, across machine reading comprehension, across a variety of fields. It is just happening at a mind-boggling pace. And this year, of course, we expect more innovations that's happening in this area. And from a Microsoft AI perspective, we organize our tools infrastructure as well as platform to allow you to do into three areas, right? One, which you might have seen at Ignite, is really this whole conversation about how should you go about building an intelligent right? And a lot of the things that happen framework space. The piece of it is really, well, you could make use of apps and agents, whether it's bot framework or whether it's any of the cognitive service, to be able to help you get started with AI without training any models, because we package all these pre-trained models, if you will, whether it's vision, text, speech, or knowledge, into APIs that you can use. We're making it easier for you to customize. Right? So for example, in the whole cognitive services space, one of the services is called Custom Vision, and therefore if you go to customvision.ai, which we introduced about a year plus ago, you realize that we have evolved from being able to allow you to customize your vision model for just a single, what we call multi-class problem, to now being able to not only just do multi-class, but also do multi-label problem, which is fascinating. But on top of that, we also make it very simple for many people working on object detection space. For example, right, if you take a retail scenario, you might be wanting to detect the different kinds of objects that are in your shelves, right? Whether it's toothpaste or whether it is food or anything. And therefore, object detection and computer vision now goes hand in hand. In the past, we used to have to train models for a long time. Now, through custom vision, we make this very simple for you to do, right? So that is essentially the apps and agent space. And then the centerpiece, which is another really exciting area, is knowledge mining. And when I say knowledge mining, I'm referring to Azure Search, with a lot of the cognitive services now embedded into it. And that addressed a lot of the customer problems that we've been hearing for a while now, which is, well, we all work with a huge amount of documents in the organization. Now, whether it's PDF, whether it's Word, whether it's just text or even unstructured data. Today we're increasingly working with image, audio, video, and so on and so forth. Now, what if you can put this into a storage, turn on Azure Search with cognitive capabilities, and being able to automatically index them, but more importantly, allowing you to query them very quickly. Right. So one example that we showed at Ignite this year in Eric Boyd's keynote is some of the work we did with a company called Icertis. And Icertis is a company that delivers a cloud-based service that is responsible for contract management. So imagine you have all these contracts that's available in PDF. And now you want to surface interesting facts about the contract. Whether what are the kinds of different countries being talked about, right? What are the interesting entities, if you will, in the contract, and many, many others. And all this, when you read a long contract, I'm sure we all have experiencing reading long contracts, you'll not pay attention to if you do not have something that helps surface this interesting information for you. Now, the Azure Search team built a system for contract management where you have all this contract in the system, but more importantly, as it's uploaded to the system, it extracts out all these powerful nuggets of information, if you will. And that allows you to discover, irregularities in contracts or things that you should pay attention to, right? And all this, again, packaged up in a really extensible capability where, well, if you do not just like some of the capabilities that we provide or we fall short in some of these areas, you can write your own code, and then this gets into the extraction pipeline and it surfaces up knowledge. And therefore, we think that that is really an exciting area that you should look at as well. And then, of course, it's the third piece, which is machine learning, right? And we said that, well, you have cognitive services that allows you to have pre-trained models. You have this capability exposed via Azure Search that allows you to extract information. But what if you have machine learning team, you have data scientists on the team, and they want to be able to be productive in their day-to-day job, right? They want to be able to train models, but more importantly, take the models through the entire process. So Azure machine learning has been evolving really nicely And so one of the things that we announced as part of Azure Machine Learning is a really exciting area would be this whole concept of auto ML or automated machine learning. And what we meant by that is the following. Look at the task that a data scientist uh, do on a daily basis. Right? Of course, you do a lot of feature engineering. Now, once you've done all this feature engineering, you start training a model. But when you train a model, what does the data scientist do? Right? There is the algorithm that you have to select. So for each algorithm that you want to select, right, you want to select the parameters, which we call hyperparameters, for each of the algorithms. Right? So for example, if you take a decision tree, in the decision tree construction process, you want to say, hey, what is the minimum number of samples in the root node? Or how should you be doing the split? Should you be doing binary split or should you be doing non-binary split? And many, many more. And if you take the whole multitude of algorithms, powerful machine learning algorithms that's out there, right, there's just too many things that you need to do. And therefore, it gets to a situation where many data scientists or data scientists that have been doing this for a long time will figure out a way to make their job more efficient. And so one of the things they do is this whole concept of hyperparameter sweep, where through some of the libraries that they use, they could define a range of value in which they want to sweep specific values for all these hyperparameters. The goal there is to optimize for whether it's accuracy, whether it's precision, whether it's F1 score, or whether it's AUC and so on and so forth. And then the infrastructure or the mechanism just takes care of doing that. Right? So this is something data scientists have been doing manually in the code that they write. But what if by using Azure Machine Learning, right, and this auto ML capability, you could specify your goal that you want to optimize for, and the service itself goes through this selection of algorithms, determining which are the algorithms and the hyperparameters that's the best combination for your task. And therefore, auto ML becomes really exciting, and that's a preview capability that we showcase at Ignite, working with some of the external companies on how auto ML in general baked into the Azure Machine Learning Python SDK has made it so simple for data scientists to both have the power of a full machine learning platform that takes care of the life cycle, but also be very efficient because now they could push this whole thing to auto machine learning and it figures it out for them. And you still have the control whether you want to use it or not. So that becomes a good blend of flexibility and power at the tips of data scientists, making them more productive. So those are some of the exciting things I think announced at Ignite this week.
Correct. So you mentioned some really great points in your explanation. One of them is that these days to do like an AI application or to build an AI solution, I do not need to know, let's say, sophisticated machine learning algorithms, things like that. I can just leverage some of the cognitive services, face recognition, speech to text, all those kind of things, because these are pre-built patterns and incorporate those into my applications, which is great.
That's right, yeah.
Which is great. And on the other hand side, if I am, let's say, a data scientist with great knowledge of R, Python, and all those kind of things, I can use services like Azure Machine Learning, Databricks, all those interesting features that give me ability to write my own data science code and use it in all around the places. One of the things that I see interesting is combination of all of these in, let's say, sometime in the future, that these like about 10, 15 years ago, when we had the single sign-on coming, like Google, Microsoft, they had all their account system, and there was a single sign-on was really big thing. So all application developers brought that into their applications, that instead of you having your own, let's say, username, password, user management in your own application, you can use Google, Microsoft, Yahoo, all those kind of things to log in. And when you go to any application, you had the option to log in with those. And now I believe the cognitive services is the next thing. So we can have like application developers using like face recognition, things like that. And when we have an application, it just recognizes our face and we log in into that system. Is that is what I'm seeing the correct, let's say, kind of future you can imagine as well?
Oh, definitely. You know, one of the books that I like a lot uh, is books by Don Norman. And so one of the things that he wrote was the design of everyday things. And of course, he writes a lot of many other topics.
Yep.
But one of the recurring things that he talked about from a HCI or human-computer interaction perspective is if a technology is going to be successful, it has to be invisible. But, and I think, Risa, what you talk about is exactly that, which is, I think it's not about an AI application or an application that we have. I think all applications, not in the future, but now, like, should be AI enabled, and it should leverage all these capabilities that cognitive services expose. Because that application, whether it's a line of business application or a new application that you are creating, will suddenly get all this new capability that's to make whoever that interacts with it feel like it's more intelligent. But it's there. You don't have to say that it's AI built in. AI is just being in the same level as, you know, the identity conversation that you have and the identity trends that you see many years in the past. That when you bring all this together, now suddenly applications becomes more intelligent, but yet it is invisible and you're using it and it makes you productive on a day-to-day basis. I think that's when AI will be successful.
That's correct. Yeah, exactly correct. AI is like more invisible part of these applications. Even Windows 10 Hello. So when we do that, we are actually using face recognition behind the scene. But many of us may
That's
not
it.
think that we are dealing with an AI application. And when we think about this in near future, it can like do lots of interesting things. I can go to a shop and face recognition of that shop recognize that I'm in the shop. I can grab an item
That's right.
from the shelf. It can recognize which item it is, and connecting this with all other applications, it can deduct the amount from my bank account when I walk out of the door. So all like automatic AI, but it is not something that, let's say, we are thinking about it very sophisticated. It's just like AI for everyday business.
That's right. And if you think about it, today it is already happening. Say, for example, we all use tools like PowerPoint for all the conferences that we go to, right? Or even Word. And if you just take PowerPoint, today if you drop images into the PowerPoint, you get your design ideas at the side, right? That is really AI happening in the background, figuring out what should be the right layout and so on and so forth. Or if you try to click on an image, it generated a caption, and the caption tells you, say, a man is sitting behind a desk. All this is all available, whether it's in PowerPoint or you want to build applications with similar capabilities. Cognitive services allows you to do that exactly. Right. Now, then if you go one step deeper, today many of us might not know, for example, if you use PowerPoint, and if you click on the Draw tab, one of the things you'll see is you're able to start using your pen to do inking.
Yeah.
So inking would be, well, you could say, well, AI is awesome, for example. And the algorithm that goes big into the back of the PowerPoint service that takes the ink that you draw, when pixels, and turn them into text, and then being able to do translation. All these were things that, you know, like if 5 years ago, we'll say, well, it's in the future, right? But it is now, right? And today, all these capabilities like inking, like I use inking all the time. We're using it, it's invisible to us. But it is AI at its very best, right? The fact that be able to deal with all of our handwriting, you know, and our horrible handwriting, and then yet being able to turn them into text that makes sense, right? Understanding the machine learning model, right, that's running in the back at scale, that's enabling this for the whole base of, say, PowerPoint users. Right? And so it is already happening, whether it is tools that we use every day, like PowerPoint, to, like, for example, the retail experience that you talked about. And I think that's what makes AI exciting. And what is interesting is anytime we have a problem and we might not know how to solve it today, for example, because the field of AI is accelerating at such an amazing pace, the transfer of tech that's covered in conferences like MITS, ICML, which are the premier top machine learning conferences, and being able to use in actual day-to-day product is actually narrowing. So much so that if you hear something innovative happening at one of these concerns, right, you expect that, hey, a few months later, you have someone that built a prototype on it and so on and so forth. And so that's very exciting.
That's great. So as a let's say application developers, lots of people who want to use the AI, they don't really need to understand all those sophisticated things. They can just go to cognitive services of Microsoft and then get the service that they want and use it, which is really great feature. So AI is not, let's say, just for data scientists. It is for almost everyone.
That's right, yeah. In fact, like one of the sessions that I used to run for a while now is we usually ask everyone in the room to say, hey, how many of you do AI or are you developers and so on and so forth. And most of the time, there'll be a lot of hands that raise up to say, I'm a developer. I really want to build an application infused with all this intelligence. But when I go for all these conferences, I see about all this algorithm and it's just mind-boggling and I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
How can I get started with AI? And therefore, my ask to the group is, well, if you leave this room after an hour of talk, every one of you can not only just do AI by leveraging cognitive services, but if you're looking at vision applications and so on and so forth, you no longer need to be a data scientist to do that. Right? Every one of you will be able to build and train a computer vision model running in the cloud, right? And then being able to use it, whether it's in the cloud as an API or getting the models into your iOS, Android, and so on and so on device in 5 minutes. Right? And of course, most don't believe when they start the presentation. By the end of it, everyone leaves the room knowing how to do that. And so the power of something like custom vision should not be underestimated. Right? And today it's not just custom vision, it's custom speech and many, many others. Right? And if now developers understand the deep knobs that need to be touched, but at the same time, it's presented in a way where it is it's presented in a way that is really simplified, right? And that allows every developer, in fact, to be able to get started with AI, to be able to so-called build and train models, if you will, without realizing that they're doing it. But more importantly, it makes a lot of the applications that they're going to build suddenly infused with all these capabilities that addresses their day-to-day use case. And it will, of course, come a point in time when this will not be sufficient to meet all the business requirements. That's when they will have to start using, for example, the ML platform in order to continue working with data scientists to do that. But it's really, really exciting that every 1 hour talk, whether I have an AI background or not, whether I'm even a computer science person, as long as I know how to use a web browser to be able to just train a vision model just like that, that's just fascinating. And of course, if you look at 5 years ago when we talk about this kind of topic, or if you bring it back even further when we talk about data mining and so on and so forth.
Correct.
All this is, you can't imagine a day and it's today now that is happening. And I think everyone, regardless of whether you're a developer, whether you're IT pro, or whether you're a business manager or business decision manager and so on and so forth, I think AI is not just some hype. AI is very real. Right, and more importantly, all these advancements and innovations that's happening in Azure is making it easier for all of us to start building AI applications now.
That's great. Yeah, I've been in your session past summit, which was exactly that kind of session. Awesome session. Yeah, that was exactly like that. I walked out of the session fully confident that I can build an application that use AI. Very awesome. And you are doing a session Friday this week as well in Ignite. Am I right? Is it Friday?
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So Friday, I will have a session that shows how to use AI for good in the context of a project at Microsoft called AI for Us. So in the session, we're going to show a lot of the applications of how you could use AI to advance and solve some of the world's toughest sustainability challenges. So we're going to do a bunch of topics ranging from being able to do species classification all the way to being able to do land cover mapping, right, to being able to use this in a commercial application like S3 ArcGIS Pro, right, to finally some of the other projects happening in the space where we're using mosquitoes as a way to detect biodiversity. Two, other very exciting projects on how we're using AI for precision agriculture and how this is helping a lot of the farmers, both in the US as well as in Asia, to be able to do and sow and get fantastic crop yields really quickly. So that session is going to cover all these topics, all in 75 minutes.
That's great. So I make sure that I put your session details in this video as well. Hopefully we will release it a bit later today, so people can know where you find you. Okay, that was awesome discussion. Out of AI world, what you do, what you enjoy as a hobby? You do travel a lot, obviously, doing like conferences, speaking.
Mm-hmm. Hobby, this is one of the areas that I started picking. I spend my weekend at the barn with the horses. And so I've been learning a lot about horses. I've been learning about how to groom horses
That's
and
nice.
also to ride a horse. So yeah, that's one of my recent things in between all the travels.
Oh, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. Yeah, and hopefully you find enough time between all these travels, and hopefully we get you sometimes down in New Zealand at some stage.
Oh,
That
yeah,
would be
that'll be
great.
awesome, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Any last word for people who want to use AI?
Yes. So if you're going to look at doing AI on Azure, recently I have two books that came out. One which you might have already seen. It's a free ebook on how to develop intelligent applications with Azure. And the other book that just came out this week is a book on if you get past using all these pre-trained models and having fun with cognitive services, and you truly want to build your first deep learning model on Azure, the new book that came out this week is a book called Deep Learning on Azure. So hopefully with these two books, it addresses both ends of the spectrum, and you have no reason to not want to do AI, because with the books, it's going to help you ramp up and jumpstart really quickly. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome resources. Thank you, Vi Hyung. It was great to talk with you. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
I
It's good
hope
to
you
see you.
enjoy the rest of the Ignite.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Riza. Thank you.
Thank you.